All right. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm Jean-Marc Bonnefou. I work for an investment consulting firm called Tellurian, and I've been contributing to a number of Horizon Europe projects, and most recently dAIEDGE. And I'll be your moderator today. So welcome to the third AI NoEs Horizon and Beyond Q&A session. The title of this session is Bridging the Gap Between AI Research and Industrial Scalability. And what we would like to achieve in this session is to address a number of challenges that are presented to the European innovation landscape and effectively how to transition cutting-edge AI research, which we know we are good at in Europe, into scalable, industry-ready, real-world solutions that can be deployed in enterprises. The matter is critical because AI technologies evolve rapidly, and we need a capacity to deploy them beyond the control research environment into real-world industrial settings. And that is a critical component of scaling Europe competitiveness, sovereignty, and leadership in a world where there's quite severe competition with other blocks. So what we'd like to achieve today is to bring to enterprises, SMEs, and industry stakeholders a glimpse on a number of topics, how to help identify deployment-ready innovations, explore how European AI research can move cutting-edge research from the lab to high-impact industrial use cases in enterprises. Also help shape the broader European ecosystem around that, around AI, and join a strategic dialogue that will be involving the researcher, the SMEs and industry representative in order to together identify pathways to scalability and acceleration the go-to-market. And also crucially help mitigate the risks and the collaboration, and increase the collaboration between stakeholders and possibly examine a number of technical, organizational, and regulatory barriers to scaling those AI research solutions. And discuss also the specific role of the network of excellence, the NoEs that are represented today on the call, in supporting that effort and supporting secure, trustworthy, and sovereign AI infrastructure across Europe. So I'm pretty pleased today to introduce a number of experts from three leading European AI initiatives that will be sharing their experience and helping us address some of those points. Those three projects are the EnField projects, the BIAS project, and the dAIESGE project. And I'd like to let the representatives on the call today and speakers introduce themselves before we move to the brief introduction on the projects and then a Q&A session. So with no further ado, I would like to give the mic to the representatives today to introduce themselves, please.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. This is Sabrina Bianchi, and I am representing today the EnField project. I work as project manager in Gruppo Maggioli.
Hi, everyone. This is Sumia. I am representing the BIAS project. Within the BIAS project, my company dGeoTouch is working towards contributing towards AI, the infrastructure on which the AI is running, as well as creating pathways for commercialization.
Hello, everyone. This is Rosa Maria Maniaci from engineering. Today, I'm representing also the EnField project, and I work in engineering as associate project manager for the research and innovation laboratory.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alberto Casanova. I'm also from Gruppo Maggioli, where I am EU project manager and project coordinator. I've been working in this role for the last 7 years, mostly focusing on managing core packages related to exploitation. And today I'm representing the MPhil project, where Mazzoli is leading the work package on exploitation, on the project impact, so exploitation, sustainability, standardization, policymaking, and stakeholders engagement.
And hello, everyone. I'm Oscar Diniz. I'm a full professor in computer science, and I'm here representing the dAIEDGE NoE on edge artificial intelligence.
Okay, great, excellent. Thank you very much. I think we have a nice panel here of that will express their views on the various topics we're going to engage with. And I'd like to maybe now start going a little bit deeper and let the three projects present today to introduce briefly their specific project and ambition and results with respect to what we're trying to achieve today. Maybe we can start with Enfield, if it's okay.
Yes, sure. Let me just quickly share my screen. I've prepared a very brief presentation. Okay, if you could please confirm that you can see these slides.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So I'm going to give a quick overview of the project, of the Enfield project. So Enfield stands for European Lighthouse to Manifest Trustworthy and Green AI. The project was funded under the Horizon Europe program and is set to last for 36 months. Considering that the project started in 2023, we are now reaching the end of our funded period. Our consortium is quite vast and heterogeneous, considering it's made of 30 partners coming from 18 different European countries, which you can see here in the slide. And we have universities, research institutes, private companies, all bringing their expertise and knowledge and enriching the project. Moving forward, our mission is to create a European Center of Excellence, contributing to advancing research in AI across strategic sectors like healthcare, energy, manufacturing, and space. Enfield also aims to promote collaboration among a variety of stakeholders, both internal and external entities that can contribute to the dialogue on AI. And finally, we will contribute to policy development and regulation at European level. In this regard, we are developing a white paper containing a set of policy recommendations that were informed on our activities and build upon identified legislative gaps. So when it comes to Enfield's application domains, we are conducting research in 4 key pillars of AI, which are adaptive, green, human-centric, and trustworthy AI. These pillars are interconnected with 4 industrial domains, the ones that I've mentioned before, so healthcare, energy, manufacturing, and space. From the research activities conducted in the project, we aim to produce a wide set of results, which can be divided into 5 main categories. So Enfield will deliver enhanced AI technologies, valuable data sets, domain-specific AI products, AI policies, standards, and guidelines, and training material. All these results will be included in one single platform, which we refer to as the Enfield portal. And this platform was specifically designed to showcase the results. And we will have the chance to explore the Enfield portal and its objectives further during this Q&A session, considering that this is a main key asset for our exploitation and long-term sustainability of the project itself. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sabrina. So maybe now we can move on to the BIAS project. Soumya? please.
Yes, absolutely. Let me share my screen. Uh-huh. Okay, I'm sharing my entire screen with you. I hope you can see it. Otherwise, just let me know. So it's a pleasure to introduce the BIAS project to the audience, everyone. So here, the main goal is that we know artificial intelligence is being used in the recruitment market for quite some time now. But if you look into the news and scientific literature, it's not always the case where this application of AI is trustworthy and socially responsible. So BIAS project exists to address this very specific part with all the advancements in AI that we are doing right now. So like MPhil, this is also a 4-year project, and we are also in the final year of the implementation. The project will conclude around October this year. So we are very specifically utilizing artificial intelligence for empowering the human resource management and the communities around HRM by addressing and mitigating algorithmic bias that comes into different phases of recruitment. So if you look into our background, we are doing it from 2 perspectives. So one, where we are utilizing natural language processing based tools, which can analyze text to make inferences or decisions. So imagine when you are uploading a cover letter or your CV into a recruitment tool. So it basically uses NLP to make inferences whether the candidate is suitable for a job interview or not. So this is one of the areas where we are very specifically working. Another one is to bring the question of fairness using case-based reasoning. So that's a bit more complex part of the project. Then, so in terms of our objectives, so we have quite a lot, but the 3 main objectives is that the first one being we are developing reliable and new tools for bias identification and mitigation in natural language processing-based systems. Secondly, we engage with stakeholders as well as have carried out a lot of localized as well as international co-creation, developing a proof of concept called dBiaser. So the idea is that here we are creating technology which will identify and mitigate bias and unfair decision making across different European recruitment landscape. And the third one being empowering the AI and human resource community through awareness raising and capacity building. So we are going to launch a massive open online course summarizing all our open source findings. That could be you can watch the videos, consume the PDF in terms of awareness raising, capacity building, as well as keeping yourself upskilled on the advancements of AI in bias identification mitigation in the context of recruitment and HR. So I think that's it for the introduction of the BIAS project, and I'd be very happy to take questions later.
Great, thank you, Soumya. Let's move on to the third project, dAIEDGE. Oscar, may you
Yeah, sure.
take the mic? Thank you.
I'm going to share my screen. Hope you can see it. Otherwise, please let me know. Yes, dAIEDGE is a network of excellence on edge AI. This is the consortium. We are over 30 partners from different European countries, and we have representation of both SMEs and big companies, and also leading universities and research centers. The project, I should say, started in 2023, so we are also in the last stages of the project. This NoE is the only network of excellence on edge AI in Europe, and we are working around edge computing, meaning on the edge inference, federated systems, continual learning, neuromorphic systems, trustworthy AI at the edge, and also the edge cloud coordination. Sometimes when I say edge, this is very similar. It's a synonym with embedded AI. Of course, as a network of excellence, we are, most of us are actually researchers, and we are producing scientific throughput through papers and publications. But we also, especially at this later stage, we also produce some useful demonstrators and pilots where we have a higher TRL. And one example, maybe the best example in our project is the VLab. What we call the VLab is a distributed and decentralized virtual lab for remote experiments on AI edge devices. So this is basically a virtual laboratory where anyone can connect and test their models, their implementations through on various edge hardware. These are some of the examples, and this list is increasing day by day, both on a hardware level with different devices and also with different runtimes and libraries, the most used one. And through this VLab, you can, as I said, upload your models and get full reports on on-device inference. On-device training is also possible. And we also support, as I said, neuromorphic devices. There are some other developments in this project. I should say, we have three use cases, pilot use cases. The first one is a smart city, then there is a smart warehouse, and then there is a space. These are some of the example developments in these use cases. Smart city monitoring, where we have surveillance cameras that can actually generate useful information in terms of vehicle detection, vehicle categorization, pedestrian counties, tracking, parking space detection, free park space detection, like we are seeing here. This is a different example, but this is a weather monitoring station using AI. So the idea here is to use a ring of microphones and embedded AI to infer the weather situation based on the noise coming the microphones. The key element here is that there is no mechanical part, no mechanical parts whatsoever. It's everything like, so to say, solid state, which is what we think it's a breakthrough. This is another example, weapon detection in surveillance cameras. Also using thermal images. With thermal images, you can detect concealed weapons behind your clothes. And also in the space use case, we have several developments around SAR sensors, which, as you know, basically ignores clouds and can see through clouds. And you can use this for sea ice classification, but also obviously for ship detection and tracking. We have also lots of developments around hardware, specialized hardware for HAI. I'm talking about neuromorphic processors, and also various sorts of FPGA-based hardware. And yes, essentially several other developments that we are keen to exploit. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Oscar. Okay, so it seems that we have some great research here, groundbreaking research across a number of projects funded by the EU. What we're going to try to talk about now is kind of the last mile, right? How do we move that research into actionable enterprise solutions? Enterprise look at solution, not that research typically, unless they had a very huge enterprise, and so they don't have the really budget to have a large research department. So we're going to identify, go through a number of questions that I'll I'll ask opinion from the panel, and then I would like to ask the audience. I mean, feel free to also jot down your questions and comments on the chat, and we'll try at the end to take 10 minutes to respond to those questions and ask the experts to give their view on your questions. So please feel free to do that. So in order to go to market and to kind of cover the last mile and make products out of research, I'd like to start with some high-level questions, and then we'll try to get a bit more specific as we go along. So the first question I'd like to ask the panel is, what is the biggest challenge you've met when trying to turn research results into market-ready products and services? Maybe I'll drag that to the Enfield representative.
Yeah, sure. So in my perspective, the biggest challenge is not technological, it's the so-called valley of death. So the gap between a working research prototype and a product that a company can actually buy, deploy, and at the end of the day, trust. In this sense, the research world looks for novelty, but at the same time, the industry needs reliability, reproducibility, and risk management. And these two worlds speak different languages and operate on also different timelines. I think in practice, this manifests in 3 layers, starting from the technical readiness. So a model that works in lab may fail in production at scale. Then also the organizational readiness. So companies do not have the internal capacity to absorb, for example, cutting-edge AI. And finally, but not for importance, the regulatory readiness, especially now with the EU AI Act. Compliance is a barrier even before you begin a commercial conversation. What we've seen across the European AI project is that the most dangerous moment is when a project ends and the plan for what comes next is not really viable and grounded on market and industrial needs. So both from the B2B and the B2C perspective. Moreover, as European project manager that has led exploitation in multiple projects, I would like to share a tip on how to handle exploitation, which is to start working on exploitation really since day one of the project and engage partners. One of the biggest challenges in European projects for the exploitation managers is to make the consortium understand the importance of the exploitation. So I highly recommend to play your cards strategically and engage partners individually, because until they see exploitation as a bureaucratic step to be fulfilled for the sake of the project, they will not be fully engaged and they will not seriously contribute to the creation of a viable and market-driven exploitation strategy. The role of the exploitation manager is also this, not only to design the exploitation roadmaps, but to make the consortium understand its importance. So without adoption, there is no impact, and they can deliver the best technology in the world, but if no one's using it, it's basically useless.
Okay, excellent, thank you. So in that context, what do we think? What kind of collaboration models do we think will be optimal between research and industry to achieve that, and how can that be implemented?
Maybe I can answer that. I really think that apart from dAIEDGE, I have some experience in other previous European projects. I believe that the best model is where you have a symbiosis between the both sides, industry and academia. I mean, both sides will have something to gain from our joint collaboration. If there is no such symbiosis, then there is no point in even attempting the collaboration. But there are some specific cases where really both sides can benefit in some way or another. Also, I think that in any such collaboration, it is a key ingredient, a key element is that both sides are very open-minded. Why do I say this? Because on the one side, when you are a researcher from academia, you are focused on a very specific application and output from this standpoint of academia. But you have to be open-minded that your techniques and methods can be also applied to other different applications. And sometimes you don't even imagine what are those other applications. But some other people can certainly see, oh, I'm seeing that your method can be used for this application, which could have some value. So you have to be open-minded as a researcher. At the same time, people from industry, they also have to be open-minded or maybe patient in the sense that because they tend to immediately try to see the commercial value of things, but sometimes they have to be patient to digest the methods, the new developments, the innovation. So it's basically an exercise of patience until you get to see the key element. That's my view.
Sumia, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mostly tend to agree on this perspective. So yeah, I would literally say the same thing what the previous panelist was saying.
Okay, so do we believe that the open projects we have today are sufficiently oriented towards industrial impact, or too focused on research? My point is that when we read the calls, right, it has a specific set of deliverables, and do we believe the weight on actionable results is strong enough in those calls as opposed to research, or should there be a call for this and a call for that? I mean, are we basically are the call structures that exist today mapping well with the end game, right, which will be to develop products beyond research? How can we possibly handle that?
Yeah, so yeah, if you see, we have research innovation action as well as innovation action, right? In innovation actions, we are creating technologies which go until like TRL 7 and 8. And in most of the recent proposals that are funded, so where the Commission is very specifically asking either for a business plan already at the proposal stage or during the execution phase. So companies or partners who are very much willing to take this product into commercialization, so they have almost like 2.5 to 3 years to assess the market, find the right customer profile, to evaluate if additional funding is needed or not, and then make a decision at the end of the project. And very quickly, you can make this leap of faith from high TRL into high business readiness, all these things. So I think that part is something that's really crucial, and that part is working for those SMEs or large enterprises who are willing. For example, from a different project, not bias, from another project, OpenDBL, we are very much interested to create a spin-off, and we actually have identified places where we would register. So all the foreground IPs and everything that was created with open source or even with like proprietary ones, so they would be actually licensed to this new entity. And so we have very advanced stage of discussion when timeline, investors, equity, are all these aspects. So it depends on the intent. We also have the other side where the starting TRL of some projects are relatively low and it's RIA, so you create something like 6 or 7 in the end. For that, I think we need additional steps, additional efforts, kind of like in collaboration, like small collaborations right after the project ends, so you can make the technology readiness even higher. And then it depends whether which route you take, like you create a spin-off, you transfer the technology to another company who is interested in doing the commercialization and all that. So I think various pathways exist. And depending on the case-by-case scenario, I think companies, especially SMEs, are making efforts to create businesses out of these amazing technologies that we are creating in the projects.
Yes, we all know the situation where you at towards the end of the project, and then you have developed some very some high potential artifacts or results, but then you think, okay, I'm going to write an exploitation plan, but who's going to fund it? Who's going to take it and bring it to market? And there seems to be like a wall, right, at the end of the project that is very complicated to break or to overcome. And as Alberto mentioned, there's issues of IP, there's issues of funding, and then crucial issue of whether that result, that research really maps the need of the enterprise. And it's a lot of between the point A, end of the project, and getting into a product. So do we believe there's enough clarity on what to do at the end of the project to get comfortably into a go-to-market? We can write the exploitation plan, but who's going to run with it and is going to fund it is the question, really.
Yes, I can give you the perspective of bias. So one of the key role of dAIEDGE is eventual commercialization, post-project commercialization of the technology. So we have spent the first 3 years identifying all the foreground IPs. There are a lot of discussions. We are going to file 2 patents, which are in very advanced stages. So these are joint patents to be licensed fully to my company. And our intention is to launch a product within like 6 months at the end of the project. So we have studied the market, where the demand is within Europe, from where or like how much additional effort in terms of commercialization, in terms of the technology, operations, the team members who are going to be behind it, business planning, all these things we have done. And we have a realistic idea like how much of private capital we need. So this is something we would start working on very close to the end of the project, so probably right after summer this year, and we are hopeful that we'd be able to launch it at the end of the 6 months. So in the case of BIAS project, this intention, this responsibility, this accountability was very clear from the time the proposal was written, and we are in kind of like the execution phase, or beginning the execution phase of all those things from now on.
Yeah, Isim, I gather that from a number of responses that it's important to really think about exploitation path at the onset as opposed to the end of the project, and then what do we do? And it seems that it's so key that it has to be thought over and baked into the project on day 0, right? So to have a slighter chance to succeed. I mean, we know the attrition rate in a startup is phenomenally high, right? So there's a challenge here. We have a lot of project results, and then there'll be very few unicorns. And in order to increase the chances, you need to line up IP stakeholders, enterprise, VCs, and funding pretty early on. And then sometimes not, right? Because not every research has to become a commercial success. That's also a point maybe to make sure we don't. If you look at different countries, US, China, and Europe, it seems that in China, it's all about adoption, right? Research is really very focused on applications. If you look at Europe, it's more on research. Core research is probably more the focus, and there's a gap here that is, in my mind, resources, people, and compute. There's funding and there's regulation also that needs to all help those projects to become products. Rosa Maria, any thoughts on this?
No, nothing to add.
Okay. So,
If I may,
sorry.
can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that, and in our case, it is this way. Some of the developments are not meant to be exploitable in the short term. Are very, very low TRL. Are research results, lots of tables for scientific publications. So it's difficult to see something exploitable. It can be exploitable, but it's not easy and not in the short term. Whereas on the other hand, there are some other demos, developments, prototypes, pilots that you see something closer, that may be closer to a further development and exploitation. That's one thing. And then on the other thing, in large projects and networks of excellence, I think you have to take into account that there may be not a single product or prototype, but actually multiple different things, multiple different developments, and they probably have to be considered separately. I mean, if you were to write a single exploitation plan, it wouldn't match the different stages and different developments. So maybe that single exploitation plan could actually be divided into mini exploitation plans for the different prototypes and applications, which can be very different. And our project is an example. We have smart city applications, but also space satellite-based AI applications. So those are, I guess, very different realms.
Right. So I'd like to spend a bit more time maybe talking about the IP element, right? There's a lot of now debate between open source and closed source. It seems to be raging, particularly in the US. What do we think of the European path? Do we think that open source type exploitation is the way to go, or do we believe that Europe should follow the US model, which is to create moats and make sure you protect your moat and scale your moat? Do you have any thoughts on that? Those two strategic way to scale research innovation?
I can say a couple of things about it. Regarding the open source and these two options that you were presenting, I think it's not an either or. The open source builds ecosystem and reduces the risk perception barrier for the companies, so for the private sector. So if your code is on GitHub and the developer at a company can try it even before any commercial conversation happens, so they can go back hand by hand, because the open source alone doesn't actually pay the bills or ensure adoption at large scale. It is still an option, and we strongly believe in that. Actually, in Ainfield, all of our results are open source. We deliver open source results of many times from software to AI models, data sets, publications, policy recommendations, and so on. But in general, I believe that the most, let's say, sophisticated approach could be the dual licensing or open core. So the foundational technology is open, but enterprise features and integration services are commercial, because we also, as Mazzoli, as a private company, we understand, we are seeing this also for other companies in the European projects. It's a bit difficult for private companies to go fully or to the open source models, but still private companies are interested in that. So I think a balance, finding the right balance between these two options is the best way to go.
Okay. Now, in terms of, I mean, to go to basically the way projects are being structured today, and I'd like to raise the question whether we think that the way calls are structured today is optimal and mapping with that, desire to go to market and create a successful exploitation. And there are a number of points here to raise. Number one, are the typical European projects becoming a bit long cycle, considering the increasingly shorter cycle of innovation you see in AI today? I mean, a project typically takes 9 months to nurture and be successful, and then 3 years to unravel. So that's a long time, right? And the question is, are you still keeping up with the constraint of exploitation if you have such a long 3.5 year project? And then in terms of the size of the project, are those projects sometimes, I think that's one of the question in the channel, are these projects sometimes too big to really focus on core actionable results? Too many hands in the pot, so to speak, as to use a very colloquial language. So do we think today's kind of setup for those codes and structure and scope is well mapped to the needs of industry? And how could they be possibly enhanced going forward? Any thoughts on that? Are we happy with the present?
No, I can say something. I think from my perspective, I think that the answer is partially. So we are not fully happy about this, and I think also the European Commission knows it. Over the years, I believe Horizon Europe has made real improvements over the FP7 and Horizon 2020. For example, the European Innovation Council creates dedicated commercialization pathways. The TRL requirements are more explicit, and the exploitation plans are taken more seriously. This is something that I've seen over the years. The EC is paying much more and more attention to the quality of the exploitation plans, and have to say what I've seen over the years is that the exploitation plans are improving. But overall, there are still structural mismatches that even the best design the call can properly and fully overcome. The most critical one, as you were saying, is the timing. So a 3-4 year project timeline produces research results on an academic clock, while the industrial adoption happens on an industrial clock that is 2 or 3 times slower. By the time that a company has evaluated, procured, integrated, and trained on a technology, the research has maybe already moved on from that point. And the second is motivational. So the incentive structure, I believe it still rewards publication over implementation and deployment. And until that changes I believe at institutional level, even the best designed call in the world can only partially compensate. So even the calls and the incentive structures should reward more the adoption part, so the deployment part, to give a real boost to the European innovation. Because as you were correctly saying, USA and China are not waiting for us to clarify how we will handle innovation.
Okay, yeah. Now, in terms of delivery, so delivery of, to go back to this kind of delivery process of innovation in terms of exploitation for each project, do we think, I mean, there are initiatives in Europe to create a platform to deliver innovation, such as the AI on demand platform or the deploy AI platform. It seems to be an alternative, another way to reach enterprises to, you could do it, you have to do it for each and every project, has to develop their own go-to-market. But one concept seems to be growing is to do that in a way that is standardized, where it goes through a platform that does the interface with the market needs. Do each of the project here on the call do entertain engagement with AI on demand platform in order to kind of present their actionable results? Is it something you're considering or integrating with?
Yes, I can answer. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that on our project, we are certainly in contact with the AI on demand platform to at the very least, to be able to showcase our developments, our artifacts, as one may call it, in the AI on demand platform. Having said this, I also have to say that for the moment, I believe that it's mostly on a showcase level. It's essentially as a one-stop site where you can find all sorts of things related to AI. So, I mean, you can easily search lots and lots of artifacts being developed in the project.
Other projects have the same experience?
For Enfield, yes, we are in close contact with the AI on demand platform, but in parallel, we are also developing our own repository. Of course, we are differentiating ourselves between the AI on demand platform. We don't want to compete with them, but maybe I can give the floor to our colleague Rosa Maria, who is actually from engineering, that is developing and managing this portal.
Yeah, actually, in Enfield, we are developing a specific platform, which is the Enfield portal, whose the main goal is to showcase for sure our result as in AI on demand platform, but also to bring all the stakeholders, internal and external stakeholders, together, so they can get in contact, they can start a collaboration, and so the result of this collaboration could go also on after the end of the project. And also all the data model of our resources, so all the resources that are in the Enfield portal, could be in an automatic way also put into the AI on demand platform, so that all the resources that we have in the platform will be also available to all the stakeholders of the AI on demand platform.
Okay, so multi-channel approach to dissemination and exploitation. That makes sense. So just assume each project has communication channels and artifacts, websites, social media, and press. How do you, for each project, ensure that these channels kind of meet their requirements to respect to exploitation as opposed to dissemination? Can you maybe talk a bit about that?
Yes, so in terms of dissemination, for sure, we have regular internal discussions about the channels where we are going to disseminate what. So, for example, AI on demand is something the Bias project is using as well, because one of our partners, so they are the main ones who have created this. So we have the liaison with them. But internally, we have also identified other dissemination channels. For example, we are going to the Digital Transformation Summit in Madeira next month for like a wider dissemination of our results into different in front of different stakeholders. And this very specific channel, so it also serves a little bit towards our exploitation, because we always go with kind of like a business questionnaire in mind. And so if we have a booth from the project, or like a little bit more engagement, so we are actually asking all the incoming participants that, okay, so this is we are planning XYZ. What is your perception? Do you see a concrete pain point that this type of product can solve, and all that? This has actually helped us to understand the end user or the potential customer perspective very early on in Bias. So this is how we have oriented our exploitation plans quite a lot. We have adapted as we progress towards more into what actual people think. And this has translated into like very good plans that's ready to be kicked in or like put in execution right after the project ends. So this is our experience from the past project.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, maybe I see the time is flying. Is there? I'd like to kind of open the discussion here, and then see if in the audience there are any specific questions that we our experts here may be able to address. And feel free to put that on the channel. I think we had a couple of questions on the structure of the projects, and it's something that's been addressed. Any other question, please feel free to bring in. Okay, so we had a project here that is focusing on a AI-based platform for farmers, who's asking if there are if this could leverage the research outcome of a project. So it's something I'll encourage the projects here to have a look, and then maybe explain how a platform like is being built in your under your project can leverage the results of other research. Kind of going back to the issue of the AI on demand platform, which I believe is kind of the mandate, is to be the horizontal platform for EU projects to kind of deliver a dissemination or more than that, connection with enterprises. So I would probably encourage you to reach out with the AI on demand platform, or the deploy AI platform project, as they are called today. Unless any other speakers here wants to add to that point.
Yes, I can give two specific answers about Cloud AI. So I suggest you to take a look into Mistral. Mistral has very similar offerings like Claude. So if you're looking for like LLM or chatbot or software support and all these things, so Mistral can help you for sure. About the Earth Engine, I'm not sure, but I think there are open source alternatives that we have in Europe that can allow you to leverage kind of like a European stack for your project.
Great, thank you. Any other question from the audience?
Yeah. I can add for Alessandro Marchese. If you because I see that he was also asking me how could a platform like theirs leverage our research outcomes and tools and so on. In Einfield, one of the domains where Einfield is researching is also space and satellite or Earth observation, and we also have use cases relation in the let's say the farming sector with farmers. So if there might be something interesting, as I said, all of our results are open source and that they will be published and made available from datasets, AI models in the Einfield portal. You can find the link in the chat. It was sent by my colleague Sabrina. And if you're interested in knowing more about the project use cases and if their results might be interesting for you and you would like to adopt it, you can contact us or follow our channels. Maybe this can be interesting. I don't know specifically what is your platform about, but I see that there are correlations in the specific domains we are working on. So we are open to collaborate.
Excellent. If I may, I would like to ask the presenters today to give a feel of how they see things from their own project, and maybe give an illustration of a result on each of them, your project that you believe is the one that can and should and will and could become an exploitation success for as an outcome of your project. If you maybe select one illustrative example of what you think has the most potential, just to flesh out the opportunity.
Sure. So from Bias project, we are right now building AI-powered recruitment platform, which has all this detection of bias in recruitment as well as the mitigation measures inbuilt in it. We are actually going to test it with FarPlus, one of the automotive companies from Turkey. So they supply parts to different automotive companies, and they are our validation partner. So with them, we are going to do this kind of like a very real world situation about with actual HRs and HR practitioners with candidates and all these kind of things. And this would be one of the concrete things that we plan to take to post-project commercialization when the Bias project ends. So this is one concrete thing. So if you subscribe to the Bias project newsletter, I'm sure you'll get like what is upcoming for all these things in the future.
Okay. Alberto?
Yeah, I have a couple. One has already been mentioned, the Einfield portal. Of course, I don't want to diminish the work of engineering, but not because of its technical innovation, but because it will be the central repository for all the project results, all the expected more than 75 results delivered, open source results delivered in the context of Einfield. But if I have to think about one specific result that is very promising, just a couple of months ago, one of the Einfield partners, DTI, the Danish Technology Institute, has showcased a prototype of the what we call a safety and security risk assessment framework. It is basically an AI-powered assessment framework. It's a chatbot trained on existing regulations and standards and allows users, developers, researchers to assess the risk level of their AI models as well as the current security, depending on existing standards and regulations, including, for example, the AI Act. This is one of the most promising results of the Einfield project.
Okay, thank you. Oscar?
As I said before, maybe the most prominent development in dAIEDGE is the VLab, that decentralized virtual lab for Edge AI implementations. Having said that, the fact is that within dAIEDGE, it's a very large project with lots of partners. We have actually several different developments in all around what we may categorize as Edge AI.
Great. Okay, so I think we're reaching the end of this very interesting session. I'd like to thank all of the speakers, presenters, and the audience. We're definitely grabbing with a very complex issue here, which is to transform core research and groundbreaking research into enterprise products. It's a long road. I think we touch a few points to make this road a little bit easier, but the story is not stopping here. Please feel free to reach out to all the projects individually if you need more engagement. And I'd like to thank you for attending, and I wish you a very good day. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Jean-Marc.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye bye.